Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Soto, bailing. Are you in a courthouse on a paternity suit? What are you in there for? What's going on?
Yeah, I pulled out way early. There's
Wait,
no
yeah.
way.
What movie's that from? Leave that in the
Yeah,
conversation. Here we are, one day away. Live edition of a Raiders versus Chiefs preview, NFL Week 18. Final game of a disappointing season. So the goal is to end it on a high note. And there's multiple ways to end it on a high note. First and foremost, for those of you saying, well, we got nothing to play for, play the backups, let's throw the game, let's get a couple extra, move up in the draft a couple spots. I have a long, nuanced, well thought out counter to that argument. And it is, fuck the Chiefs. That's my argument. They have a chance to be the number one seed in the AFC. We beat them. They are not. I will absolutely give up moving up 2-3 spots in the draft. We can hopefully end the Chiefs' chances of being the number one seed in the AFC. And also, we are 3-2 in the AFC West, despite this trash season. We could be 4-2, having beat every single other AFC West opponent going into next season. That matters. That sticks in people's heads. The Chiefs have beat us 9 of the last 10 times. Fuck those 2 or 3 spots. Fuck the Chiefs.
Yeah, man, look. Number one, you got to go out there to play to win, right? When you play a very physical sport like football and you don't go out there and try your best, that's usually when people get hurt. And the Chiefs have something to play for because they want to get that top seed, right?
Yep.
So we want to play spoilers. Also, we have a very uncertain quarterback situation, and we need to see, honestly, what we have in Jarrett Stidham, because it's going to play a big thing going forward in what we do and what our plans are. So I don't see us even thinking about rolling over. I really do think that we're going to, have some pride. And honestly, guys, look, this is where culture is made. It doesn't matter what we have to play for. We have a job to do, and we have an insignia on our helmet and the name on the back of our jersey and the name on the front of our jersey. We need to go out there and play with pride and just win, commitment to excellence. The standard is the standard. Whichever one you want to pick, you go out there and play hard and you play to win. I understand a lot of people are going to say, well, draft position and this and that. Look, those 2-3 spots may mean something if you're picking in the top 3 or 4. In 6 to 8, it's not going to make that big a deal. But you don't want to go out there and purposely take a dump.
There's multiple players on this team that won't be here next season, so they're all playing for their jobs as well. It's job interviews for all these guys in the last, they're on 1-year deals, the last year deal with their contract. Are we picking up or not? Picking up their options, like all these other things, right? There's all these moving parts that says these players are playing for themselves, if anything, and if not for the team. So the Chiefs, 9-point favorites, which on paper seems okay. Yeah, they're the Chiefs, but the Raiders have been in 9 straight 1-point games. When we played them in week 5, we lost by 1
score games, you mean?
Well, 1 game. Yeah, excuse me. In week 5, we lost by 1 point, 30-29. I might load up on the Raiders this week.
That 9 seems extremely high. They're on the road, hostile environment. I understand they have to have something to play for, but it's like they're not going to win style points. It's not like it's in college where you have to impress somebody. All they have to do is win. And I don't know that, let's say they have a 4 or 5 point lead, they're going to exactly put their feet on the gas. I think that, I don't know, man. I think loading up on the Raiders this week and the points is a pretty decent play.
So this is the thing for me. Like I said, week 5, we lost by 1 point. Are the Chiefs better or worse since then? And are the Raiders better or worse since then? Because I know it's not like perfect football math, right? Where it's like, all right, well, week 5 gets replicated in week 18. It's just whatever changes. Hey, it's, that's a lot of moving parts. A lot of things change. I don't know if the Chiefs are all that much better since then. I think the Raiders defense has fallen off, but other than that, like, I don't see a reason why this isn't going to look a lot like Week 15, or excuse me, Week 5.
Yeah, honestly, look, the big, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but where the Chiefs have drastically improved since we saw them was their third down defense. They're only allowing like a third of the time teams to convert on third down.
Yeah.
And they've only gotten better since we've played them. Now, conversely, they are converting at 50% on third down.
Yeah.
And they've only gotten better at that since we've played them. So those are two really big factors, things that we need to take advantage of. I mean, again, third down is your money down. Yeah. Third down is the down where you separate yourself from other teams, and I think that's the big difference with the Chiefs from the first time. They were still kind of jumbling, like they were allowing a lot of chunk plays earlier in the season. Although they're still turning the ball over, they're not turning it over as much as they did earlier in the year. So they kind of righted the ship a little bit. They're still turnover prone. I'm not going to say that they're not. But those are the two things where they've improved drastically since the last time we've seen them.
So look at the matchups, Chiefs offense versus Raiders defense, Raiders offense versus Raiders defense. We'll start with the bad news. Chiefs offense. They average 29 points per game. First in the NFL. Like you mentioned, the third down conversion rate almost at 48%, right there at 50-50. That's second best in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, 315 yards per game. That's the most. 40 passing touchdowns. That's also the most. I look at like all 31 other teams, and we've seen it happen. Their quarterback has like career games against this defense. Imagine being Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the week of the Raiders. Like, seriously, what are you worried about? Maxx Crosby tripping and falling off the bus being in the stadium? Like, those are your two worries.
Yeah, look, it's not going to be easy, man. And we need to play a perfect game situationally. No one plays a perfect game, right? Where every play is a touchdown and everything. But situationally, we need to be a whole lot better than the Chiefs to beat them, because they're going to put themselves in better situations than we are, because they're just a better team. So situationally, we have to be pretty much perfect. We had to, if we do punt, we can't do 3 and outs. We can't turn the ball over. We need to eat up time, even if we don't score. We need to be good in the red zone, which we haven't been terribly good in the red zone. And they're actually pretty good at red zone defense, allowing touchdown, field goals to touchdown. So the situational game is going to be big, as far as like kind of like the game behind the game, and offensively, they're a juggernaut, man. It can come down to, can we tip that one pass away? Can we put the pressure on them a little bit to make them sail a throw, which he can do, which Mahomes has done. If you get him running, we saw it in the Super Bowl. Even the last time we played them, he had some 3 and outs.
Yeah,
we got to keep pressure on him though. We got to keep him moving around. His footwork isn't great. That's why when he throws interceptions, it's because he's kind of maybe doing too much. I know he's excellent at making plays happen, but there are times where he does have the opportunity to set his feet. He just chooses not to because he has that arm strength and talent, and that's where he gets into trouble. So we do need to keep him moving, but stay disciplined in the secondary.
The tight end that will remain nameless had 4 touchdowns against us in week 5, but Mahomes has also thrown to touchdowns to 11 different pass catchers. So even though it's like, all right, we know that like the tight end is the focal point, it's not like he's out of options otherwise, right? So it's a weird, like, in week 5, you remember after his like second or third touchdown catch, they had like double, like they were like almost triple team him. Like there'd be someone on the line bumping him, someone on the outside, someone bracketing him, and still he'd get open for touchdowns. Like, who was it? They had like a lineman out in coverage just to like bump him off the line.
It was Farrell,
right? Farrell's out there like, and I kind of like that scheme, right? Like, what is Farrell gonna like get us a sack? Like, all right, you're You're bigger than Travis Kelce. Let's have you be physical with him and disrupt his route. Like, okay, that was kind of clever. I kind of like that idea out of Patrick Graham. Still didn't work. Still got a touchdown on that exact same play. So it's a weird thing. It's like, all right, do you like totally focus on the tight end? Okay, we've got 10 other dudes that have caught touchdown passes this season.
You know what? Honestly, I think we do focus on the tight end just because he has a higher propensity to make plays happen than the other pass catchers out there. Make Juju Smith-Schuster beat us. Make MBS beat us. Make McKinnon. Make those guys beat us, but don't let the tight end that will remain lameless beat us.
Lameless?
The issue lameless too. The issue that we're having when we did those plays is we didn't get the pressure on Mahomes to take off his timing. And when we did put pressure on him, we didn't stay disciplined in the secondary. We were peaking too much. Let the linebackers and the linemen worry about getting Mahomes on the ground. If Mahomes runs for a 50-yard touchdown, fine. Don't let him get off by throwing the ball to the tight end.
So the good news, Chiefs defense. I don't know where you got that stat that they had good red zone. They're last. They gave up 69% in the red zone.
Touchdowns or scores?
Scores, 69%. In the red
no,
zone.
Their touchdown to field goal ratio is good.
I'll look that up. But points
unless
per game.
Unless I read it wrong.
Their points per game below average, 22 points per game. That's 20th in the NFL. And it got even worse. Like, I didn't even realize this with the Chiefs the last 5 weeks. Last 5 weeks. This is the points they gave up to these offenses. Yeah. Broncos, 24 points. Seahawks, 10.
That is insane.
Texans, 24 points. It gets even more insane. Broncos, 28 points.
Jeez.
Bengals good offense gave up 27. So they've given up in the last 5 weeks, from most recent to least recent, 24, 10, 24, 28, 27, 3 times against 2 of the worst offenses in football. So, giant shootout potentially. I mean, if the Broncos are if this version of the corpse of Russell Wilson's putting up 28 points not that long ago. Imagine what Darren Waller, Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and hopefully the version of Jarrett Stidham we saw last week can do.
If we win this game, it's going to be a shootout. We don't have the defense to make this a low-scoring game, and their offense is potent enough. They don't have to be perfect to score because they're that explosive. They can have, shitty first, second down and still push the ball on third down. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference that we have here. We don't have that type of defense that's going to play perfect, which what they need to do, because you can play as good a defense as you want. They're still going to get big chunk plays. Mm-hmm. So if the way we win is by shootout, and hopefully with the weapons that we have, and we have, Stidham remains grounded and not only makes the plays from the pocket when they're there, he also is able to, create some plays that maybe normally wouldn't have been created because of his ability to move and throw the ball outside the pocket.
There's a big however though in how poorly the Chiefs defense is playing. They have 49 sacks this season, which is 4th in the NFL against our offensive line that's improved a lot throughout the season, specifically the rush. Pass defense, when they faced good fronts, has struggled a little bit. And as good as Jarrett Stidham played last week against the Niners, that's how we got those 2 interceptions. Was he didn't really care that pressure was coming. Like that's the bad side of a good coin is Stidham stands in there under fire and still delivers. The bad side is he'll fire when guys are hitting him, not caring, and throw a pick. So that to me is the biggest worry, is Stidham really getting fucked up with that really good pressure that the Chiefs bring.
It's something where we have to be very sound on play action. We have to be able to run the ball, or else the play action is not going to work. Mm. Okay. So we have to be able to be good on play action. We have to be able to not only have Stidham scramble well, but we have to move the pocket ourselves. We have to do some bootlegs and stuff like that. Something to get him away from the pressure, and maybe, I don't want to say shorten the field because he has good field vision, but something to not be a sitting target for the Chiefs defensive linemen.
That's how they opened up the game last week, right? Was like play action, boots, like let's get this guy moving, get him in open space, get him away from the lineman, that kind of shit, right? Like get him comfortable out of the gate that way. Thank you for the super chat, A Divinius. No more tired of Carr anon. No more, comma, tired of Carr. Got it. Okay. Yeah. He's gone.
Well, everyone's going back and forth in the comment section about Carr. I think there's one guy's like, Carr would have beat the 49ers, and no, he couldn't, and this and that. I'm like, look, man, I mean, I think it's said, the Wade said the best is here. Ace Spivey said, we can stop arguing about Carr, love him or hate him, he's gone. Okay, let's just move on, guys. It's a non-issue.
Going back to offensive weapons. So this is the other thing interesting about week 5. Remember, you look at the line from Davante Adams in week 5, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're like, hell yeah, balled out, great game, awesome. You only had 3 catches. It was one of those, like, they kind of, because that was clearly the game plan from the Chiefs was take away Davante Adams. The Raiders kind of lulled the defense to sleep, and then Davante would go for, a 50-yarder and a touchdown, right?
Right.
I wonder if that's the same game plan this time, because you can tell Stidham, and understandably so, was just zeroing in on Davante in his one start. Just like, get it to Davante, 50-50 balls, get it to Davante. If the Chiefs just make it the game plan like they did in week 5, just do not let Davante beat us. I wonder how that's going to play out.
Well, look, they can plan all they want. Stidham showed yesterday when he allows the route concepts to develop. There was a couple of times where Davante was wide open because he was schemed open. And you're not going to tell me that the 49ers were, not worried about Davante Adams. They just let him catch his shit. Like, no. Yeah. They were game planning against him too. I mean, look, I'm not taking anything away from Carr. Those passes they had to be perfect passes, and they were. So they were covering them really well. It's just we were fortunate enough to have those passes drop in, and Davante is just him. Davante is Davante, and he's able to make those plays happen. We can't count on that happening again, simply because those were such. I mean, even though when you do have, such a good talent, those aren't great percentage throws.
I know Waller didn't suit up that game. I don't remember. Did Hunter play week 5? Was he out? Or did he play? I don't remember at the top of my head. I don't think he did. And so that's also partly why it's like, yeah, let's just triple cover Davante Adams, because that's all they got. Now we got Waller, Renfrow, and Davante. So it's going to be such a different dynamic in that element. The one giant question mark, though, was Josh Jacobs in week 5 had 150 yards and a touchdown, 7.3 yards per carry against the Chiefs in week 5, right? Like, you're not going to win a shootout based on just one wide receiver, right? Like, it was wide receiver, running back played well, etc. He didn't practice yesterday. He was limited on Wednesday. We don't have the injury report yet today. But there's this, it feels weirdly like Jacobs may not play tomorrow. That's going to change things a lot. We'll let you figure shit out. But that's weird in a lot of ways, because you've got Zeus White, who's just kind of like waiting, right? He's got like 10 carries on the season, right? Can he fill in that role and be the running back that we need? Can he get those carries that we need? And also, this is the other weird part. Josh Jacobs, he's obviously the leading rusher in the NFL. 160 yards ahead of Nick Chubb, 179 yards ahead of Derek Henry. If he doesn't play, will Chubb or Henry pass him up for the rushing title? That would really suck. That would suck for Josh Jacobs. Like, because Jacobs earned that rushing title. Like, there's a lot. Obviously, all these running backs are fantastic, right? Derek Henry, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, all these guys that are potentially up for grabs for the rushing title. They're all awesome. They're all, great yards after contact. Most of them are great pass catchers, good team players, all this stuff. Like, they're good running backs. But Josh Jacobs has 800 yards after contact. That's crazy. Like, he earned this rushing title. It wasn't just like, oh, he was part of an amazing offense. Oh, he had a top 5 offensive line. No, like a lot of things went right. You know, this offensive line deserves some credit. McDaniels deserves some credit. The offense deserves some credit for a running back getting a rushing title, right? McDaniels said he considers it a team title, and that's true in a lot of senses, and that's coach speaking. That's what coaches should say. But Josh Jacobs fucking earned those yards. That would suck so bad if he missed on Saturday and Nick Chubb or Derek Henry just go, because that's striking distance for both dudes. Derek Henry, 179 yards, totally can do that. Nick Chubb, 160 yards, totally can do that. I feel really bad for Josh Jacobs if he lost his rushing title because he didn't play tomorrow. And I feel bad for us because he was such a big part of making it a shootout in week 5 against the Chiefs. So that's the injury report. He's the only maybe. Darian Butler, another linebacker out. Great. Completely out of linebackers. And then Josh Jacobs still questionable. We'll let you guys know on like our social media and stuff what happens with Josh Jacobs. But I'd say 50-50 right now that Jacobs plays. 50-50 maybe? I mean, we'll get the reports today of what happens. But like he missed like walkthroughs. Or that was like estimates. You know what I mean? Like I said, over under 52.5. Expecting another shootout. And that's kind of what we would hope for, right? I think it's the most realistic way for the Raiders to win is both offenses go buck wild. Darren Waller, a couple touchdowns. Hunter Renfrow productive. Davante Adams, a couple touchdowns. And this is all, and that's hoping Josh Jacobs is still playing to keep the pass rush honest and all that. Unless Zeus is just so much better than we thought. Like, we haven't had a chance to see enough of him to really know what's going on. Now on to Jarrett Stidham, the biggest wild card, the biggest question mark, the biggest storyline for the Raiders going into the very last game of this season, right? Who's going to be the quarterback next season? Who's going to be the quarterback the next 5 years? All up for grabs. All up for grabs. Now, I will say, as good as Jarrett Stidham played against the Niners, hopefully he plays just as well or better tomorrow. There is literally nothing he can do tomorrow, good or bad, that will convince me that he's definitely going to be our starter next season or definitely gone next season. You understand that? It's only 2 games. He can go absolutely insane tomorrow. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, outplays Patrick Mahomes, and I'd be like, mwah, awesome. Fuck yeah, go Raiders. And let's keep him in the room, right? But I'm not going to say after 2 games, oh yeah, he's our starter moving forward. Let's not even try to go to free agency. Let's not use a high pick on a quarterback. It's only 2 games. There's nothing he can do good or bad that would make me say, Jarrett Stidham's the guy. Don't worry about anybody else. On the flip side, he can go 7 of 30 tomorrow, 3 interceptions, just a complete trash game. And I'm not going to say, get rid of him, cut him, don't try to keep him in the room. No, there's literally nothing he can do tomorrow that's going to make me say he's going to be the guy moving forward forever. Good or bad. I want to keep him in the room no matter what. No matter what happens tomorrow, keep him in the room. Keep him in the building. He knows the system. We've seen one game where he flashed absolutely brilliantly. Keep him in the room, but still, we're either getting, a Rodgers or a Lamar or a Brady, or we're drafting high. Either way, he's the guy we want. We either want, like, he's proven, like, at worst case scenario, he's going to be a fantastic backup quarterback. Like he's already proven. Worst case scenario, hey, look who's here. Talking about Jarrett Stidham. I was saying, no matter what he does tomorrow, good or bad, he can have the best game ever or the worst game ever. I still want him in the building, and I still think we should either be pursuing, like, Stidham will have a role. Either we're drafting super, super high and Stidham kind of guides him and it's a quarterback battle, or we're picking up our Rodgers or Lamar or Brady or whoever, and he's the backup and they learn together. It's like, my thing is, after 2 games, you're not going to convince me he's for sure the guy or for sure not the guy. There's nothing good or bad he can do tomorrow that's going to, like, solidify it one way or the other for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, what it can do is it maybe won't change the decision to want to keep Stidham in the building, but what it will do is it will kind of steer your path in from that direction. Like, there's a fork in the road, and then there's a couple of different paths on that one fork that you choose. Okay, yeah. Do we keep Stidham as a backup and get a veteran guy because we know Stidham can come through in the pinch? Or, hey, you know what? Stidham might be the guy that we can maybe move forward with. Let's get a younger guy to learn under him, which we do have now in Chase Garbers, and McDaniels does like him, which is why I think there's a small chance that we don't do anything at quarterback. We just bring back Stidham, which, I mean, the reports were that, I don't know if you touched on this or not, but the reports were that Ziegler is like on the phone every day, multiple times a day to Stidham's agent. I don't think he wants him to hit the open market. I think he wants him to get under contract before the season is up and extend him. But I do think that it may change the direction within the fork that we choose in the road, because there's two big, on that one fork, there's two big possibilities. Do we keep him in the building, which I think they want to? Do we keep him, and do we keep him as a backup to, because look what happened, when Matt Ryan goes to a new team, didn't work all that great. A veteran Carson Wentz goes to a new team, they go back and forth. Russell Wilson goes to a new team, he hyped up, and so it's like, okay, yeah, we can get, let's say a Tom Brady or whatever, or Jimmy Garoppolo. Doesn't mean they're going to work as well in what we're doing now. Do we still have a competent backup?
Counterpoint: the last two Super Bowls were won by quarterbacks that were brought in their first season too. So you're right. Like, it can crash and burn, but last two Super Bowls, it was won by quarterbacks that were brought in for that one season, a veteran guy in a brand new system, and it worked, right? So again, those were the Rams and Bucks were way more complete teams than the Raiders, but I'm not willing to throw away the idea that it just doesn't really happen that often. It's like, yeah, well, it's on a two Super Bowl win streak, new quarterbacks.
I want to address something really quick, because I think this is a good question to ask, and this is something that we need to address, I believe, because there's a couple different schools of thought. Cedric Moore, the big question is, why didn't Stidham beat out Carr if we could consider him so good? I have a theory on that. RJ, what do you think? What do you think on that?
I don't think Stidham was brought in to beat out Carr first and foremost. I think it was just, all right, we want a guy that knows the system and a competent backup, which is what he was in New England. 1, 2, he was coming off of back surgery, so it was kind of like, all right, let's nurse him in there. Let's kind of slowly, do that type of thing. And quite frankly, I mean, Derek Carr was a starter for 9 seasons. I mean, it takes a lot. He's not going to get beat him out in week 1, right? Again, I still think it's kind of wild that he took him over for the last 2 weeks, just because of how long Carr's been around and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of a couple things.
A lot of things, yeah. There's a couple other things too. Number one, Carr makes a lot of money. He's been a quarterback on this team for a long time, and he makes a lot of money. Number 2, he signed that prove it deal. You have to let him show you really who he is. So the first part of the season, maybe if it wasn't what Carr and other people in the building were looking for, that's one thing. But how does he progress throughout the year? And I think once we saw maybe the progression not there, there would be a as much as people think right now that it was a disservice to Carr how he was handled, it would have been even more of a disservice not allowing it to play out and let him really show that, yes, I can improve in the system, or maybe he's not picking it up as fast as we would like. So yeah, it's a prove it deal, because you got to prove yourself. And you do prove yourself. You prove yourself that you can do it, or you prove yourself that you can't in the eyes of the coaching staff and the front office. You had to give him that time. I don't think that any of the confidence in the building wavered from the beginning of the season to the end of the season on Jarrett Stidham. I think McDaniels knew what he had in Stidham as far as the ability to run the offense. But like you said, there was the injury concern coming off of injury. And I just really do think that they wanted to give Carr a fair look to see what to really cement what they felt they had in him, because it was a very difficult and important decision because of the money ramifications moving forward.
How about this? It never happens. It never happens when you have a $25 million quarterback, a guy that was brought in to be the backup, has never started a game before, and have him just like start week one. Like, has that ever happened? Unless it was injury? Like, I don't think that's ever happened in this situation. It's like that's the main one, right? And we've had a conversation a million times. I think it was just they wanted to make sure Carr took the blame and was the scapegoat. Sure, he didn't play great either, right? Like you said, he opened the door for him to be the scapegoat, back and forth. So I don't think there was any sort of like quarterback competition week one type of thing.
There was no
like,
competition.
Once we were like less than 1% of making the playoffs, then it was like, okay, we're not going to pay Derek Carr $80 million the next 2 years. He's gone. So now he needs him to play. Another good question from Sean Donahue. Injuries concern me with Jarrett Stidham. We need a guy that's available. He's already on the injury report after one start. So he was limited one practice and then he was fine. So he's playing this week. That's not a big deal. But this is the other part too. Even the people who hate Carr the most can understand how fucking durable he was. He missed 3 starts in 9 seasons because of injury. Mm-hmm. Don't get used to that. That's not normal. Quarterbacks do.
It's not normal.
Quarterbacks don't have that happen
every year. Look at Jalen Hurts. He's missing. Look at Lamar Jackson. Yeah. So look, it's one of those things where it's like it's almost and RJ can co-sign with this. When I'm coaching at the gym, head movement is probably one of the hardest things to teach because we're so used to thinking that, oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and bang. It's like, well, I mean, there's someone banging back, right? Yeah. So head movement is difficult to teach, and the best teacher of head movement is getting fucking hit. Live round, getting hit with live sparring. That's how you know, hey, I can't just sit here. What's the rule of thumb, RJ? If your head's still after the third punch, like you got to move that head. You're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
You know, two shots, and you're moving your angle. You're moving your feet. You're moving your head. Same thing with Stidham. He has to learn how to protect himself while still looking to make plays. I do think the big hit that everyone's talking about was when he got creamed by 2 guys. But there was a couple things that went involved in that. He had to hold the ball a little longer to let the linebacker push through and give him a better open lane. But also, I think once Stidham and Davante get a little bit more used to each other, I think Davante will split up field a little sooner and allow Stidham to throw the ball, even though there was, the thing is if you split out sooner, the safety is going to follow you. It's going to make it a tougher throw. But I think with them playing together and him, being a little bit more, there's always a middle ground. There's a pendulum swing, right?
Well, look, you can't say like he brought up a valid point, right? Like there is going to be more injury concern with Stidham. 1, he's coming off of major back surgery where it's like maybe he wouldn't play. 2, he's a running quarterback or at least a very mobile quarterback. And that's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing to have that as an option to be a mobile quarterback. But look at
these young guys.
Look at these young guys. Injury risk, right?
Look at Fields. Look at Hurts. Look at Lamar. Like these guys, they have to learn how to rein it in. That's one reason why Mahomes is so fucking just outworldly, because he's mobile, but he uses his mobility to create time, not so much to gain yardage.
And that's the thing. Again, yeah, you should be worried about injuries with Stidham compared to Carr for both just how he plays, style of play, durability. That's going to be a concern, but that's always it will always be a concern forever at quarterback, especially with one that knows how to move. Yep, be worried.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm saying, yes, it will be in the last 9 years, Raiders fans have had a lot to worry about. Right? There's a lot of shit. We're like, damn it, I'm worried about this week. One of those things has almost never been, is the starting quarterback going to play? And that's rare. That's a very, very rare thing. That's one of the things where it's going to kind of be like back to earth a little bit with Carr out of here.
Sean Donahoe, good point. Clearly one reason why McDaniels isn't a huge fan of running quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Now, would you consider Patrick Mahomes a running quarterback? I don't think so. He is a mobile quarterback, but again, he uses his mobility to create time. He's very smart with how he moves. And Rudy Cruz, he asked what gym do I coach at? I manage to coach a gym called Spider Muay Thai. There, answering
Spider. So I'm going through the Chiefs. which teams with mobile quarterbacks have given them problems? I think that's probably partly too, like why the Broncos were able to put so many points on him. Like Russell Wilson, not good, but he can still kind of shake a little bit. He can still move much better than an average quarterback. So
and it's the pocket presence and it's the mobility to look down the field. He's not looking to run anymore. He doesn't have that kind of mobility anymore. Mm-hmm. It's the mobility to continue to attack down the field.
The Niners put up 23 points with a pretty mobile quarterback. The Bills put up 24 points with a pretty mobile quarterback.
God, that guy's so fucking good, Josh Allen.
Cardinals put up 21. Cardinals put up 21 points with a mobile quarterback. So we may see a lot of Jarrett Stidham on the move. That's been the Chiefs. That's clearly been one of the Chiefs. One thing the Chiefs have struggled with is mobile quarterbacks this season. Might see him move a little bit.
Yeah, the thing is it's always more difficult. Like I said during the post-game show, it's more difficult for a defense to game plan against an inconsistent quarterback, whereas you don't know where he's going to be all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard defenders say it too. It's like they would rather play against Tom Brady than Lamar Jackson. Like, you know where Tom Brady's going to be. He's going to be in the pocket, standing tall. Okay, that's where I have to go. You have to chase around these little guys, these Kyler Murray's running around. That tires out the defensive line more than anything.
So if you're Andy Reid, what's the game plan against this defense?
Oh, against our defense, spread them out, find matchups, fling it. That's pretty much it. I think that Andy Reid is comfortable in any matchup as long as it's in his favor. I don't know that we're going to be able to disguise and fool Patrick Mahomes very often, and if we do, again, he's very good at moving around to create more space and create those scramble drills. Offensively, that's what it's going to be. Spread us out. I don't think we're going to see a lot of jumbo sets or super jumbo sets or tackle eligible plays or anything like that. They don't want to smash mouth.
Yeah,
they want to put up points and they want to get out to a big lead. And that's their calling card is let me get on a big lead and keep the pressure on you and take you out of your game plan, which is ball control. You know, they force other teams to play their game.
So I think they go max protect. And they just let guys run wild. Because I can't think like, all right, you tell me. Of their four best pass catchers, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Mecole Hardman, questionable but likely to play, and Travis Kelce. Do we have anybody on our defense that you're comfortable covering any of those four man-to-man?
Well, yeah, I think Nate Hobbs can cover. You know, I think out of those three, honestly, I think Marquez Valdes-Scantling is the easiest to cover because he's pretty much a speed guy. Mecole Hardman has shown the ability to, run a little bit more routes, and Juju Smith-Schuster is just mainly a route runner. He doesn't really have too much speed in his routes. But then you put in the tight end that will remain nameless. He's the one that kind of breaks down coverages. Mm-hmm. So, I think Hobbs can cover those guys one-on-one, but it's just, we were right there last time too,
Yeah.
And it's going to take a great effort. I mean, I know our linebackers, it's going to be tough with these linebackers we have, last week, some of these guys were doing security at a titty bar, and now they're playing linebacker for the Raiders. Merrick needs to step up, man. Merrick he got his nuts burnt by Kelce the last game. So bad so that Kelce actually called him out. Mm-hmm. Like, he went to the camera and he went 2-5, no good. And look, man, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. It's a really good team, and the matchup is bad because our defense is so poor in the secondary. But we got to figure out a way to at least get a couple of stops.
Yeah, I think they go max protect because literally the only thing, because it's been proven throughout the season, right? If we can get some pressure, this defense can be okay against the pass. It can a little bit of some pressure, we can be okay. If there isn't pressure, it's the worst pass defense in football, and it's been proven time and time again. I think they just go. I think with Clyde Edwards-Helaire on injured reserve, and they got Isaiah Pacheco as their starting, Jarrett McKinnon, like not quite the same run game. I think they just go max protect, running back in there, blocking, and they just let the guys just go until someone's open. Because I think they're going to be. They're eventually going to be because they're not going to get pressure.
Yeah, it's just that's the key to the game. Can we get pressure on Mahomes and make these throws a little bit more difficult? Because we've seen that if we give him time, the guys are going to get open, and they don't have to get wide open because Mahomes will throw them open.
Yeah. Defensively, I don't know if the Chiefs have enough information to really be able to come with a nice. That's one of the good things about having a brand new quarterback, and the one good thing about having Waller or Renfrow be out for most of the season. There's just not as much tape on him, especially Renfrow. Like even when he is in, he's just not. He just hasn't been productive when he is in. So, this is a good opportunity for McDaniels to pull out parts of his playbook he didn't get to use without Waller or Renfrow, and throw a couple curveballs at him, or even just the standard operating procedure for this, for having all your weapons, he can do, because there's just like no tape on it.
I didn't hear you. You broke up.
Good. Yeah, I left you speechless with my amazing analysis.
Why? Thank you, sir.
Well, I know you got to go, but that's it for us. Not prime time, but our own slot tomorrow. Once ESPN,
nobody else.
Just us. It's so weird that we are like, oh, we're putting the Raiders on. They're all like flexing to their own spot, but look, it's the Chiefs. They're fighting for the number one spot, our number one seed in the AFC. That's why we're going to kick them in the dick and have them limp into the playoffs.
That's
the goal. That's what we're going to do. Enjoy the game tomorrow, everybody. We will be right back here for a live post-game show immediately following Raiders kicking the teeth in of the Kansas City Chiefs. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me.